So we have today Matthew Wilson, Legal Director from Uber. Welcome.
Pleasure.
What do you think the role of General Counsel is in 2017, and has it changed since you first started practicing law?
From my perspective, I think the role of a GC these days is everything that it always has been and more. You're expected as a baseline to cover off all of the good legal stuff that has always been on a GC's plate. But these days we're expected to peer around corners. We're expected to make sure that we're not only covering legal stuff, but that we fully understand the business as well and have an opinion on the business and be able to be in the boardroom or around the executive committee with commercial members of the team and hold your own. So from that point of view, it's having that ability to give sometimes what I think of as advice with a capital A, which is that formal legal advice in your capacity as a GC, but also advice with a little a, which is what should we do? It's that qualitative advice. So that's how I see it.
So what do you think the role of GC is in 2017, and has it changed since you first started practicing law?
Energy, inquisitiveness, flexibility. I think that being a leader is very, very important, and that's a leader of your team and a leader of the business as well. I also think that the way that a GC role is going in 2017, you need to not just be able to be good at the law, you need to be a bit more of a polymath and everything that entails.
So what qualities do you look for when instructing external counsel?
Really good question. I think that there's a threshold that firms that you always look at in terms of the reach of the firm, the breadth of the practice areas, what countries are they present in, what countries aren't they present in. But when it comes down to it, the kind of person I am, it always comes down to the individual and whether you want to work with that individual, whether you can build a relationship of trust there, where they become like a GC or a member of a legal team is to a business. They're a trusted business advisor. I see my external counsel in exactly the same way.
So what does disruption mean to you?
For me, disruption is about ideas. And there's a difference between disruption and innovation. With innovation, it could be an entirely new idea, a new industry, whereas disruption is looking at something that's existing and trying to make it better. Disruption has been around for hundreds of years, probably thousands of years. If you look back hundreds of years ago through the industrial and agricultural revolutions, you've got looms, printing presses that were disrupting traditional industries, and all the way through to modern times where companies like Amazon have disrupted bookshops, and the invention of things like the internet have disrupted the way in which we used to go and get information, like going to libraries. So it's not new. What I think has happened over the last 5 to 10 years, especially with the acceleration of new technologies and the speed that information travels around the world, is that the pace of disruption and, of course, innovation has increased dramatically, which is why we hear more about it.
How do disruptor legal teams harness the millennial generation?
It's really interesting. And at a company like Uber, there are a lot of millennials. We're a very young company. What we find is that more than anywhere else, in fact, that I've worked previously, everyone is interested in the legal issues that we face and in helping the legal department. So we very much collaborate with all of the millennials in the organisation to produce solutions for the legal team, whether that's automation, whether it's designing new processes for kind of matter tracking and things like that. There are plenty of people willing to help out. And from a team perspective, what I tend to look for now is T-shaped experience. So members of the team might have a very deep specialism, but what I'm tending to find is that millennials like variety. They don't want to do the same thing for 20 years. So to be able to provide, someone might come in being a litigator, but to be able to give them exposure to transactions or corporate work is something that I think is valued pretty highly.
How do disruptor legal teams leverage technology in the department?
In a variety of ways. So everything from the way in which we communicate with each other through the use of video conferencing that's installed on all of our laptops, to chat functionality that we use for quick questions, to bounce ideas off each other, often across oceans. So in the afternoons when San Francisco come online, I'll be corresponding with colleagues out in San Francisco a lot of the time. I have people in my team that are based out in Amsterdam and in Scandinavia, and we're always in constant contact with each other. So it really does bring teams close together, even though that physically they might be distant. Outside of that, what we try and do as a constant is replace what we do today with technology, so we can focus on what the business needs us to do for tomorrow. And that takes a variety of different forms, like automating contracts, training members of the business so that they can self-serve more easily, and using things like GDocs, where everyone can all jump into a document, whether it's a contract, whether it's an advice note, and produce it and ask the questions and iterate in real time.
Thank you very much for your time today. I hope you enjoy the exchange.
Thanks very much.